The Kayfabe Crunch is kept clean by Jeremy Hand Sanitizer. At Jeremy, we put cleanliness next to godliness. So it's important to keep clean right now, as God has abandoned us all. Jeremy protects against harmful slimes and disgusting micromolecules. Spread it on your walls to provide a protective shield for you and your family. Jeremy, we're cleaner than you.
The Kayfabe Crunch. The news there is, the news there was, and the news there ever will be.
Good day, this is your Kayfabe Crunch for Saturday, March 21st, 2020. I'm Bill Buckshot Lariat. It's double-barreled. Today is World Poetry Day, and to celebrate, the genius Lanny Poffo will be releasing a brand new book of poems. And some of the leaked titles of his poems include I Wandered Lonely in a Gown, Oh, the Brothers You'll Outgrow, and Nothing Gold Can Stay Around My Waist. Looking forward to it, Lanny. On this day in grappling history, in 1991, WCW and New Japan presented a super show in the Tokyo Dome. So, after this whole WrestleMania virus thing is over, we'll be looking to you, AEW, to revive an old tradition. We're going to need something special after all this is over. And 19 years ago today, the final episode of WCW Thunder took place. It's hard to know just why this show was cancelled, as it featured classic bouts such as Hugh Morris versus Rick Steiner. Okay, yes, maybe we know why. Coming up, we have all the latest from a jam-packed episode of AEW Dynamite, and last night's less packed SmackDown. But first, we'd like to address some misinformation that's been floating around. It is absolutely safe to re-watch WrestleMania 19. A lot of listeners have sent us emails asking if WrestleMania 19 is the sole source of the WrestleMania virus. While the number 19 has us all feeling a little uneasy right now, there's absolutely no danger of catching WrestleMania by rewatching WrestleMania 19. So, go ahead. Although WrestleManias 11 and 27 should be avoided like the plague. Now let's get down to the Dynamite-Diversion news. Top story, Elite Event. Cody opened Wednesday's Dynamite with a rousing message for viewers at this difficult time. He spoke about realizing just how small his world seems right now, which is a little harsh as AEW is a medium-sized wrestling company at the absolute worst. He chose to utilize this need for unity to bring the Elite back together. He begged Matt Jackson, Adam Page, and Kenny Omega to put their differences aside so they can win at Blood and Guts, which may not happen. The world needs the Elite right now, it must be said. The world needs heroes at a time where our global leaders are failing us with sluggish inaction and misplaced priorities. So we're glad Cody made this rallying call, as seeing real-life superheroes stand together at this time, it means a lot. Sorry, this very real and not at all pretend sport is just very important right now. Later in the night, the Inner Circle defeated the Elite to win the advantage for Blood and Guts. Chris Jericho then banned all fans from attending future episodes of Dynamite. So, if we see empty arenas over the coming weeks, it has nothing to do with the spread of a certain virus. Wash your hands. And everything to do with a decree from the Inner Circle, who we believe are the leading authority on pandemic control at this time. It's really tough to tell with so much misinformation spreading around like a virus. Jericho pointed out the fact the Elite are short one member for Blood and Guts. But as he did so, a drone arrived in the middle of the ring. At first, we thought it was a bit of a PSA for how all of our food will be delivered in the coming years. But it turned out to be Vanguard 1, Matt Hardy's personal drone. That's right, in all this chaos, all this confusion, what better man to be the face of these uncertain times than a completely broken and insane individual? Absolutely wonderful. And now it's time for your fast count, the Dynamite crowd of news. The Exalted One was finally revealed. Brody Lee is the leader of this digital cult, and he's a man who used to be in a cult himself, so he knows a thing or two about recruiting disenfranchised individuals and molding them into dangerous terrors to society. This news organization would like to wish all the best to Brody Lee and his dangerous cult. What's with Fox now?
Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano reveal all.
During the time that Johnny and I were living together, it was Candace. We find ourselves in a three-way.
That weekend's such a blur.
Miz and Morrison dress up as their various tag team rivals, and fortunately opting not to go full method.
MJF and Shawn Spears place bets on Wednesday's matches. They currently have 7-1 on Dynamite being on the air next week.
Lance Archer confirms his ownership of the Murder Hawk Mansion, a place where everybody flies. I'm sorry, where everybody dies. That's much less fun.
Sami Zayn stated that unlike the rest of the WWE universe, he understands the souls of Cesaro and Nakamura, which sounds a lot like every boy I dated in college.
AEW wrestlers watch Wednesday's matches from ringside, proving once and for all that wrestling is a real sport. Otherwise, why would the performers be watching? Think about it.
Otis Dozovic finally snaps, causing Miz to comment.
Wow, that ham is mad.
Oh, and Goldberg and Roman Reigns signed a contract. It was intense, yada yada. And that's your fast count.
You've been counted out. Maybe visit a national park.
Last night, SmackDown opened with something a little less coherent than what Dynamite had to offer. Former NFL star Robert Gronkowski is on his path to becoming a WWE superstar by becoming the host of this year's two-night WrestleMania. No, you haven't switched to a comedy wrestling news podcast by mistake, one where they'd pluck random names out of the air to create hilarious scenarios. No, this is real. Robert Gronkowski, or the Gronk as my notes say here, is this year's host. Now, this puts him on the track for greatness, as huge names like The Rock and The New Day have hosted WrestleMania in the past. Plus, the Gronk even sounds like The Rock, if you don't think about it too much. Gronk was welcomed to WWE by longtime friend Mojo Rawley, who, and it's been reported in the past, has elevated levels of hype in his system. King Corbin took issue with Gronk's arrival, and Elias took issue with Corbin taking issue with Gronk's arrival. All this happened while the Super Bowl champion sort of flailed his arms everywhere, like a reincarnated Bailey buddy. Gronk then made it clear that he isn't allowed to make matches for WrestleMania, but that he'd seriously consider lobbying for Elias and Corbin to have a match with each other this year. I suppose in these uncertain times where immediate action is needed, the exciting words we want to hear on our television screens are, seriously consider thinking about this option. Good luck, Robert. And we thank you for listening to us today. There's just time for a weather report where you are, and the weather is, it doesn't matter. There could be Hurricane Ranas to the north, south, east, and west, and it would be irrelevant. The weather is simply whatever it looks like from your window, and I know self-isolating can be difficult, but please don't throw your tag team partner through the glass. Join us Tuesday when we'll try and squeeze in some news out of an empty arena episode of Monday Night Raw. And if you're looking to escape from reality for a while, why not binge all the wrestling news we've released so far? It'll be a good way to remember what normal life sounds like, as the version of me from around a month or two ago had no clue as to the severity of the WrestleMania virus. What a lucky son of a This has been the Kayfabe Crunch, your not quite daily, not quite news bump for the world of professional wrestling.
The Kayfabe Crunch is kept clean by Jeremy Hand Sanitizer. The only thing that stands between you and WrestleMania is a gallon of Jeremy. We're not saying you should drink Jeremy, as the FDA strongly recommends against it, but why not add a few drops to your morning coffee? It'll leave your innards feeling fresh, clean, and scented in one of 16 delicious flavors.
The Kayfabe Crunch.